You know now more? Good. Alhamdulillah. That's what I want to hear. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على هذا النبي الكريم صاحب القلب الرحيم وعلى آله وأصحابه الطيبين الطاهرين. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan for sharing the dua for our brothers and sisters, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ad-du'a'u mukhul ibadah." Dua is the core of the ibadah. And imagine, subhanallah, you look in the Quran, you see most of the stories or the saying of Ibrahim alayhi salam are the dua. Jazakallah khair. Allah yabarak feek. Dua all the time. If you remember Surah Al-Baqarah, if you remember in Surah Ibrahim, most of it is dua, because the dua, subhanallah, brings tranquility to the person, especially those who are really in pain, especially who are suffering. The dua is the one that, subhanallah, brings that peace to the mind and to the heart of people. So not ever to stop doing the dua all the time if you can. Don't stop it. People, unfortunately, they do the dua most of the time when? Ramadan, or if there is a dead person, right? Is there a death in the family, or you're visiting someone, you make the dua. And then Ramadan. And beyond that, people are not really getting themselves the habit of making the dua. Or what it takes after the salah, just sit for a few minutes and make dua. Make dua for yourself, for your family, for your children, and for the community, and for Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. 5, for yourself, for your family, for your children, for your community, and then for Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Imagine if every one of us make dua, especially the young ones, because the young ones have clean pages and books, nothing in them yet. So and the Prophet ﷺ also, he used to ask people to make dua for him. So this is good. Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ, when Abu Bakr was going for Hajj, if you remember, we talked about Hajj. He told Abu Bakr, Abu is telling Abu Bakr, the Prophet ﷺ is telling Abu Bakr, he said, Ya Abu Bakr, لا تنسانا من صالح الدعاء. Do not forget us in the best of your dua. And as if Rasulullah is in need for the dua, of course he said, I am in need for the dua. Even he is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So imagine us. Tonight we talked about Umar radiallahu anhu. We are getting very close toward the end. And unfortunately, we have to end the story, because we have to go and talk about someone else, inshallah, one of the great, giants of Islam and the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if you remember, last time we talked about what? The achievements that Umar radiallahu anhu have done. And a lot of brothers came to me after that. And they asked me, Akhi, where are you getting these from? We haven't heard these things before in our life. The most we have heard is Umar was strong, he was tough, he was big, and few stories here and there, and that's it. Never talked about the achievement that Umar radiallahu anhu have done, or the companions after that. And this is actually was meant to be. This was meant to be, not to teach us these things. We all studied Islamic studies, right, in our childhood. But did we study anything about the companions of the Prophet ﷺ? They were there in the books. And these books that I go back and study from, they're all old books. They are not like books were written on the 21st century. They're all like books were written back in the 70s, back in the in the 1900, 1800, and like 700. It's not like something new. But unfortunately, we've been driven away from learning about the achievement of the Muslims. They don't want us to learn or know what the Muslims have done for other civilizations to learn from. And that's exactly what I was talking about, and about Umar radiallahu anh, and what did he achieve in his life. If you all remember, things like, he started something what we have right now, the hotels. He started something called the guest house. Because as I said, people are coming from everywhere, don't have a place to stay, and they are strangers. They don't know the people in town. So what he did, he built a guest house for those who come from outside, and the city, people of the town, will provide food for them. He's the one who created the training camps, because some people are farmers, don't know how to hold a sword, don't know how to fight, and definitely you need those people when you have a war, when you have something. So he created something called training, bases, like base train, those who train the soldiers, for the fight, like what we have right now, like so many forts, we have so many, training bases, in the US and what have you, so in the whole world actually, every country they have their own to train people how to, fight. He's the one who first started drafting young men to the war. He's the first one who gave money to the families while what we call the bread earner, the one who's providing for the family is not there. So he has to give money to the family. He's the one who started the program which we call now WIC, women, infant, and children. He's the one who started that back in the days. And I'm not saying even that because I want to say this because I'm making it up or someone's making it up. If you go to the books called 100 Most Influential People, remember that book back in the 70s came out? Number 1 was who? Rasulullah ﷺ. And Umar made it to number 17, I think. And he put his achievements. Not only that, if you even look beyond that, the things that we nowadays talk about, we all know about algorithm, right? Algorithm? Anybody doesn't know algorithm? Have you heard about algorithm?
Yes.
You've heard about algorithm, right? Algorithm is part of the, math equations and, so you can do some math equations. Algorithm, it came from who? Al-Khwarizmi. Al-Khwarizmi. But they don't say Al-Khwarizmi, they say algorithm. Algorithm came from Al-Khwarizmi. He's the one who invented this. He's the one who started this. Go to Wikipedia, or share Google and Google it. Google algorithm, the origin of algorithm. It will tell you who started it. Algebra. Anybody doesn't know algebra? You all know algebra, right? Algebra from Ibn Jabr. Ibn Jabr, the one who started algebra. And of course Ibn Rushd, if you go to, anyone been to the Museum of Science in Fort Worth? You've been to it? Ya Ikhwana, take your kids there. There is a whole section about medicine, and one part of it is about who started the first surgery in the world. The Muslims. And they say that, I'm not saying this. And they have the tools. He's the first one who opened, Ibn Rushd, I think he was the one who opened, had an open stomach surgery. Who discovered the blood circulation in the body? The Muslims. It's there. Ibn Sina. What we call him? Avicenna. His name is Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina in his book, if you read Kitab al-Tibb, called The Medicine, in the beginning he said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, was-salatu was-salam. He's like writing an Islamic book. And guess what hadith he put in there? إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. He makes sure that his niyyah is to serve the community. There's a book of medicine. Okay? Guess about the optics, Ibn al-Haytham. The optics. He's talking about that. People thought that the eye is the one that sends the lights so you can see. But he told them, you're wrong. There should be a light from the outside and the eye can see. And he wrote all these books, but of course was transferred and we did not follow up. We were busy with ourselves and all of that, and the civilization were gone. Back in 1980, the first class I remembered I took was engineering drawing. And the first thing the professor said, it was like a small tiny town. And remember 1980 was what? What was happening in 1980? 79, 1980. 79, 80. Oh, Gulf War. He's in the Gulf War.
Probably that time.
No. 1980 was the Iranian, was the American hostages in Iran.
79, right?
79, 80. Yeah, the Gulf War was 1990. So, yeah, 1990, right? It's okay, it's all right. So 1980, imagine now, this professor is telling the whole class. He's saying, he's writing number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 in English. And he says, what are these numbers? They said, these are numeric numbers. He said, no. He said, these are Roman numbers. He said, no, numbers are I, V, X, M, right? He said, those are not Roman numbers. They said, what numbers are they? He said, those are Arabic numbers. Arabic numbers. He said, how so? And you know how people, ooh, no, what are you talking about? The Arabs. You know? He said, those are Arabic numbers. The one, why no one had that hyphen? You know, one, you write one like that? Why the 7 has that dash in the middle? Why, you think? Go back and study them. Go to share Google. Again, the origin of the Arabic letters. Google that. 1 is 1 angle. 2, 2 angle. 3 angle. 4 angle. 5, 6, 7. And why the 0 is circled? There's no angle. What happened to us? We took the Indian numbers. And we gave the English the Arabic numbers to the West to learn it. People don't know what is 0. Believe it or not, in Spain, when the Crusaders came and they kicked the Muslims out, they were the Jewish at that time. It's in the history because they are the only one that learned the Arabic also. So they start translating into Latin, and they told them, "What is this 0?" There's a good article, a video from what's his name? From Turkey, Harun Yahya. Yes. Oh, Yahya Harun. He talks about that. You know, they said 0. He said, what is 0? He says, an empty. He said, what is empty? What is it? What does it mean? 0. They don't know that if you put 0 in front of 1, become 10. And if you put 6 zeros, that's 1,000,000. That's how important the 0 is. But what happened is, they want us to forget that we have heroes, brothers and sisters. Okay? They want to forget. They want people to forget that we have heroes. And we talked last time, right, about what Umar did, right? All the things he did. We did, right? You remember that? No, you don't remember? What he did in his life for 10 years? The things he achieved? Yes? No? People are just quiet looking at me like... Did we talk about that? No, okay, so I want to make sure that I wasn't there maybe.
We didn't talk about it.
I didn't talk about the achievements?
No.
Are you serious?
We stopped over there.
We stopped there. Yeah, see, I mentioned because I'm doing, you guys are behind one event because I'm doing Epic and doing Plano and you guys. That's why I'm asking people, look at me like, what are you talking about? Well, okay, then fine. We will inshallah talk about that. I thought I talked about it, subhanAllah. Anyway, so then we didn't talk about that. Okay, then we're going to talk about the achievement he did. That's fine. Khair, inshallah. It's not a big deal. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Right. Let me just go back there. Because there's so many, subhanAllah, so many. Did we talk about it, his lecture, when he gave a speech?
No.
What did I do? I skipped some.
A couple times.
Subhanallah. Yes. Khair inshallah. Thank you. Khair. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Very quickly inshallah. Thank you. Number 1. Thank you. As I said, subhanallah, they wanted to make us forget about our leaders, about people who have achieved something in our life. And we didn't study this. That's why people tell me, he did all of that. I said, yes. He said, where did he get that from? We never heard of this. I said, Ya Ikhwana, they are in the books. Just go and read, try to find. Google, read, you will find a lot. Of course, you will find the bad and the good and the ugly. The Google is not very authentic in a way, but at least you can get something from there. Al-Faruq, Umar radiallahu anh, he was one of the great heroes. They have invented heroes. See, civilization of Rome is gone. Civilization of Persia is gone. So there's no civilization. Then you want to bring someone and tell him, by the way, this is your hero. He says, who's that hero? What did he do? Why Umar radiallahu anh, who made it to the book of 100 influential leaders? Why? Why he made it there? Because he achieved things, he made things, he invented things. We're never there. And we're going to talk about that quickly, inshallah, here. Okay? So what they did, they start to invent their heroes. First of all, they tried, when the colonization came, when the unfortunately, the Ottoman Empire was gone, and we are the one who destroyed it. You know, we have to give credit to the Arabs, are the one who destroyed it, thinking that, you know what, we don't get rid of those Ottomans because they destroyed our land, not knowing that the destruction and whatever they did, whatever it is much better to have a one huge empire. Subhanallah. But we are the one who, we are the losers. And that's why we are paying the price. We paid the price since that time. Since 1918, the First World War, when the Ottoman Empire, you know, lost the war at that time. And of course there was a conspiracy from inside with them, and they have lost it. And then what happened is, you know, the invasion came. The British, the French, the Portuguese, the Italians, the Spain, they start coming in and conquering and taking over our lands and dividing it. Divided and conquered. So what they did, they said the first thing we need to do, they destroyed everything has to do with Islam. They closed all the institutions that teaches Quran. And if you teach Quran, if they know that you are teaching Quran, you're dead. You cannot teach Quran. Only in the small tiny towns, small villages, like my father used to go a small village. The one in the main cities, they closed them down. They said that's the only way to get rid of Islam. But they couldn't. They said, okay, we need to create our own schools. So they had the Catholic school, they had the English school, they had the British school, they had the French school, they had the Spanish school. Why? To educate people with the Latin and the civilization of the West. Bring it into our land, and people start dressing up like, Khawaja we call them, dressed up with a tie and all that, and a suit, no more of this turban and, wearing the long, clothes. This is something, old and old-fashioned and backwarded, so we need to be more modern, They couldn't. They introduced the corruption, women and drink and all that. It didn't work. They said, okay, what we need to do, we need to teach them, bring people from within them to create dilemma and confusion. So they brought people like, Taha Hussein and Manfaluti and this guy and that guy. They started writing books about deen, deen is no good nowadays. So, and there is something wrong in the Quran here and something wrong in the Hadith here. So they start making problems, for the Muslimin. And most of the people become what? Uneducated. They don't care about education anymore, or Islamic education. They went through the secular education. But still, that didn't work for them. So they said, then we have to create what? We have to create heroes to replace their heroes. People studied about all these heroes that we had in our life, the companions, the tabi'een, tabi'een, and all the inventions that Muslims have done. They want people to forget about that. They brought their own idols and their own heroes. Who were their heroes? You're going to laugh at this, right? But this is true, huh?
Ataturk.
Well, Ataturk was, Ataturk was one of the tools, of course, destroyed Islam for 20 years. And I couldn't believe this. For 20 years, people cannot give adhan in Arabic. Can you imagine that? No adhan in Arabic in Turkey. And destroying Islam completely. Look what happened now. Subhanallah. Islam came and flourishing right now in Turkey. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Subhanallah. Huh? What heroes they brought? In the First World War II, they brought the Superman. See, you're laughing, right? I'm serious. There is no heroes. They thought that, what's his name? Stalin's going to be a hero. Stalin brought communism. No good. They thought Marcus is going to be a hero. Marcus brought what? Destruction. The guy, what's his name in China at that time? Mao Zedong. What did he do? Destruction. Hitler. They thought Hitler is going to be something. Hitler be destruction. There is no really a real hero to bring them to save the world. So they brought who? They brought Superman. They brought Batman. They brought Huh? Spider-Man now. Thor. Iron Man. You see where it is? You see where it is? They said these people, because they do things that no one can do, these are the heroes. These are the heroes. When I did a survey between our kids, and I said, maybe this is another survey I want to do inshallah next time. I said, what are the priorities in your life? What are the things that priority in your life? And I started asking, the kids, and I said, write it down. Write 6 of them. One of the 60 wrote Allah. Ikhwana, these kids are our products. I'm sorry, I'm saying things sometimes, people like, it's a little bit painful to the heart. But that's the truth. When your kid think that Allah is not important in his life, then who's important in your life? Who's given you the breath to breathe? Who's given you the eye, the sight to see? Who's given you ears to hear? Who's making your organs working day and night without you doing anything? You don't have to pump your heart every time you're talking, and you don't pump your heart, you die. Think about this. Wallahi, think about it, right? In expanding your lungs and all these things. How can you forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? 2 out of the 60 wrote Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How can you live your life as a Muslim without knowing that the Prophet ﷺ is part of your life? Don't tell me it's given. If it is not in your mind, you will never think about it. Like this man came to Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he said, Ya Imam, Ahmad ibn Hanbal used to say, if I don't see the Prophet ﷺ in my dream every night, then there's something wrong with me. They used to say he used to see the Prophet ﷺ every night in his dream. So they asked him, how can you do that? One man, he said, how can you do that? How can you see the Prophet ﷺ every night? He said, I want to tell you a formula, so you will do it, inshallah. Maybe you can do this formula tomorrow. He said, what? He said, I want you tomorrow, go and eat fish all day long. In the breakfast, eat fish. Lunch, eat fish. At night, eat fish. And between meals, eat fish. So tomorrow, eat fish all the time, but do not drink a sip of water. Now, when you eat fish, what do you need? You need water. You have to have water. You'll be thirsty. So the next day he saw him, he said, so what did you dream of last night? He said, Ya Imam, you can't believe this. All night, waterfalls. Waterfalls, ocean, rivers. He said, this is because you were in love. You were loving. You want some water. And you slept without water. That's what you saw in your dream. So when you love the Prophet ﷺ so much, you will see him in your dream. Is that a good formula? Is that a good formula? Try that tomorrow. Go to the fish market tomorrow and buy some fish.
No way.
He says, no way. 2, guess what was number 1 for all of them?
Video games.
What are we teaching our kids? Why do we have kids 11 years old? Do you have a cell phone?
No.
Not yet.
He's not gonna tell you.
I've seen 11 years old carrying cell phone, and I say why? The mother would say, well, you never know, maybe something can happen to him, you will call for emergency only. 11 years old having a cell phone? Huh? Number 2. You know what's number 2? Internet. Computer. Number 3 was TV. Who said TV? Number 3 was TV, cable, entertainment. Number 4, computers. And everybody had food and drink and water. They had family too. It's important for them. A lot of them had family. The word family in there. So where are our heroes, ya akhwan? That's the important. That's what I'm saying tonight. If you don't get anything tonight out of this tonight, at least you got that. You're gonna go home and you tell your kids, we need to study more about the companions of the Prophet ﷺ and the achievements of Umar. What did he do? Okay? Quickly. He's the first one who put the calendar. We don't have any calendar. He used to receive, letters from Rome, from Persia. They had calendars because Rome is like, 2,000, 3,000 years old. Persia is 5,000 or 4,000, Allahu A'lam. They have their dates. So look, nobody thought of this. He came and he said, well, how come you don't have a date to write? I want to send a letter out to Sham. I don't have a date. How come? They said, let's use the Roman date. He said, no. He said, let's use the Persian. He said, that's even worse. No. They said, what do you need? He said, something about us. They said, how about the birth of Rasulullah? He said, no. He said, the Amul Fil, the year of the elephant. He said, no. They said, what about Isra wal Mi'raj? That's an event. So they're looking at the event. He said, no. They said, well, which one you want? He said, how about Al-Hijrah? Why Al-Hijrah? Because that's when he started the true Islamic state or Islamic, right? This is what it is. So Hijrah, we're going to go back for how many years? 13 years. Because 10 years, and then 2 years Abu Bakr, and I am right now here, so that's 13 years. That's the first thing we want to do. So he started writing to the whole people. They say, you know what? Start using Al-Hijrah year for ourselves. And the months were known, 12 months. Muharram wa Safar wa Rabi' al-Awwal, Rabi' al-Thani, Jamad al-Ula, Jamad al-Thani, Rajab, Sha'ban, Ramadan, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah. You need to memorize those people. He's the first one who started accountability. You're in charge of the town? Come here. You're in charge of this town? Come here. You're in charge of that town? Come here. Where to meet? Hajj time. You're doing ihram. You're not going to lie about your budget. You are in Arafah, and he's telling people, come on people, we have all day in Arafah. Okay? So tell me, what's your budget? How much did you spend? See, show me. He's the one who started registrations, paper reports. Give me a report. That we call it dawaween in Arabic. He started to write everything down because he knows how to read and write. He said, show me. Okay, show me. He took enough money from you. Did he sign? Did he put his stamp? What did he do? He's the one who started registrations. Right? He did that. He's the first one who, what we call, he started zoning. Zoning. Right? Now we have a zoning, right? He said the zoning. How did he start the zoning? He said the middle of town is the masjid. And everything goes out. The center of the masjid. How big is the zoning? He said you bring people, archers, around the masjid and throw their arrow. Of course the arrow doesn't have any pointer. So it doesn't kill people on the other side, right? People were asking me this when I was in pain. I said, Yahi, how did they shoot the arrow? It's going to hit somebody. I said, Yahi, the arrow doesn't have any head. It might hit you in the head, but it doesn't hurt you because it's only a piece of wood. Right? So he hit. Look how people were thinking about, right? I'm talking about zoning and they're talking about the arrow. So anyway, they shoot from the middle from the masjid, and whatever it reaches, that's the zoning for that town. Can you imagine? What did he do the zoning for? Well, you want to build your house. Huh? Sheikh Abdullah wants to build his house. He says, Ya Sheikh, this is a poor neighborhood. I want to find something that, rich people. So he goes and he builds his house in the rich area. No problem. Your zakah is $20. Yeah, because you're rich. I cannot go to some areas and say, oh, you know what, and you're gonna have 20. No, you cannot. Because I know they are poor. So they are zoning. Now you know, what zone are you from? I'm from this area. Okay. He's the one who made the planning, the design for Al-Kufa, for Al-Basra, Al-Fastat in Egypt. And up till now, people are talking about these things. Even in Andalus, Andalusia, or Granada, where we call right now, they have still the drawings of the old drawings. They have started copying what Umar had done in his time. He's the first one who paved the road. You go downtown Plano, what do you see? Bricks. No more, no concrete, none of that, right? He's the one who started that. put bricks and made the road level so people will drive better, walk well, and the animals will not trip. If you remember the hadith when he said, if a mule tripped in Baghdad, I'm afraid that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask me, why did not pave the road for it, Ya Umar? How did he come up with that? وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهِ. Fear Allah and Allah will teach you. Allah will teach you things that people don't know. How did he come up with all this? All these things, subhanAllah. He's not only now in the politics area or in the design and the planning. Look at this man. Not only in the planning area, but even in the ibadah. He came to the masjid during his time. People are praying Taraweeh in groups. Because Rasulullah prayed the first night, the second night, the third night. The masjid was full. He stopped praying. He said, I'm afraid if I continue, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it obligatory on you and you cannot afford it. So he stopped. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu didn't dare to do that. Umar radiallahu anhu said, call people as-salatu jami'ah. In the first day of Ramadan, the night before Ramadan. He called people, he said, people, we're going to pray Taraweeh. Like Rasulullah he used to pray. So he prayed like Rasulullah was praying. And the companions, some of them came and said, Ya Umar, innaha bid'ah. This is a bid'ah. It was a bid'ah, it wasn't something new. From now, that days. He said, ni'mal bid'atuhi. This is the best bid'ah. What bid'ah? Rasulullah have done it. Right? But he started because of the reason. So, everybody remember praying since that time till now. When you pray Taraweeh, guess who's getting the reward? Umar radiallahu anhu. Subhanallah. He's the one who bring all of us right now. We're praying Taraweeh. That's how we should appreciate Umar. And how good is the Taraweeh, ya akhwana? Think about if there was no Taraweeh. You're praying by yourself. Are you going to pray 20? You're not even 8. Not even 4. You're going to eat and you are sitting like this. Alhamdulillah, man, it was a good meal. Yalla ya Shaykh Isha. Ya Shaykh, we'll pray later inshallah. But now, I tell my wife, I hate to be invited in Ramadan. Why? Because you eat. What? We need to go and pray in the masjid. We need to rush, right? You see people rushing to Taraweeh. How beautiful it is, ya akhwan. Even for the ibadah. He's the first one who expanded the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. We're doing expansion, we're doing this, we're doing that. Epic is doing, Plano is doing. Rasulullah have done it, but he didn't do it like the Umar radiallahu anhu. But Umar had a problem. One area of the masjid belonged to Al-Abbas radiallahu anhu, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ. Told him, Ya Abbas, we need your house because we need to expand. He said, no, I don't want to give it to you. Now, of course, if it is nowadays, at middle of the night, you're going to have the army coming and moving Al-Abbas and his family, throw him in the street, and the bulldozer is already there, and if he doesn't leave, then within 2 minutes, he will dump the whole thing on top of his head, and they will just level it and just, build whatever they want to build. Isn't that true? That's what they do nowadays. That's the democracy we have. But Umar radiallahu anhu, the Khalifa, whose people are scared of him, he's telling him, Abbas, said, Ya Abbas, I will give you money for your house. I'll appraise it and give you the money. He said, no, I don't want your money. This is my house. And why I'm saying this, because sometimes we need to expand and we have a house belonging to one of the brothers. We say, we need your house. If he says no, it means no. Maybe you keep negotiating with him. But if you say no, brothers and sisters, salaam alaikum, brothers and sisters, brother so-and-so is refusing to sell his house to the masjid. Astaghfirullah al-azim. People are going to go and stone him outside maybe. Or they want to talk to him. They don't want to talk to him. Please, brother, don't talk to me, please. You don't want to sit in the masjid? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. You're going to rot in hellfire, inshallah. Keep praying in the masjid. Isn't the case? Al-Abbas told him no. Umar told him, Ya Abbas, if you don't give it to me, I'll take it by force. I'm the Khalifa. He said, Wallahi la ashkuwannaka lillah. La ashkuwannaka li Ali. Ali radiallahu anhu was the faqih. He was the qadi. He was the judge. So he went to Ali, he said, Ya Ali, Umar wants to take my house by force. So Sayyidina radiallahu anhu told him, what do you think? He said, no, you cannot. That's his house. You cannot take it. He said, Ya Ali, I'm going to give him money. He said, I don't want your money. This is my house. And why I'm insisting on this point? Because this is what we call, Ya akhwana, huquq al-ibad. These are the rights of the people. You cannot take it because of you bring all kind of reasons. This is not enough. So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, that's fine. I don't want it. So Al-Abbas left and he came back. And he said, now I will give it to you. And I don't want your money. Why did he do that? Because he told him, Ya Umar, so you won't forget, and the companions won't forget, that these are the huquq al-ibad. You agree? He said, I agree. And you see, Umar radiallahu anhu was just. And he wanted just to be served. And if he didn't want just to be served, he could have done what he did to Al-Abbas. And he had the power to. He's the Khalifa. But he didn't do that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to teach us, and the companions wants to teach us something. The huquq al-ibad. He is the first one who moved maqam Sayyidina Ibrahim. Sayyidina Ibrahim was close to the Kaaba. So people, when they went tawaf, they were hitting it. So very close. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, why don't we just move maqam Ibrahim to what it is right now? And make prayer, and we pray behind it. Because people doesn't want to pray to a stone. Remember this, right? They already have a problem with praying behind a stone. So he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala agreed with Umar. He said what? وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. Take an maqam Ibrahim as a musalla, right? That's what we do. When we finish the tawaf, what we do? We pray behind maqam Ibrahim, right? That's what we do. For those who didn't go, that's what you need to do, inshallah, when you go there. He's the first one who did the awards for those who memorize Quran. You know? So it's not something new. There's nothing wrong with it. Why? You are encouraging, when people are not memorizing Quran anymore, you are encouraging people to memorize Quran. There's nothing wrong with it. He used to give and give good for those. He's the first one who made the shura, and with counted numbers. Meaning that Abu Bakr left what? He said, if you want to take Umar, I believe Umar is the best one after me. Sayyidina Umar, he said, no. I want 6, not 1. But make sure that my son or my children are not in those 6. Shura. He said shura. So there are candidates. Where the candidates came from nowadays? Election and, there's nothing wrong with it. People say, this is a Western thing, we should not vote for these people, we should not follow this is a kuffar thing. I said, look, Sayyidina Umar said that. And the Sahaba agreed with that. They said, bring 5 or 6 candidates. And let's see who's gonna win this. If the whole people agreed on one person, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. This way you will have more varieties. Not only that, but Umar radiallahu anhu also, he put the al-jizya, which is taxation, and it is even less than 2.5. And it is not, and he left it up upon for those who are poor. He saw a Jew walking down the street, beggar. He said, why are you begging? He said, I'm trying to collect money for the taxation, for the taxes, for the jizya. I don't have money. He said, لا خير فينا إن أخذنا مالك وأنت صحيح. He said, no, we're no good if you're taking your money when you're young and taking your money when you're old. He said to Baytul Mal, he said, give him a monthly salary. Make sure that he will not beg again in the streets. Ikhwan, in his time there were no beggars on the streets. When I see Muslim beggars in our community, I say, subhanAllah, even in America, we have beggars. Why? Why we have beggars? Well, people are going some tough time, I understand. But when we have beggars, during Eid time, I see people start begging for money. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Beggars? Sayyidina Umar said, I don't want to see a beggar in the town. You need money? Go and ask for the money and find a job and work. That man who, he came to the, he entered the masjid and he saw this man at Dhuhr. He said, Ya Rabb rizukni, Ya Rabb rizukni, Ya Rabb rizukni. He said, fine, good, dua is good. So he left Dhuhr and he came Asr and he saw the same man sitting still there from Dhuhr to Asr. Ya Rabb rizukni, Ya Rabb a'tini, Ya Rabb rizukni. So he came and he said, he hit him so hard and he said, get out and find a job. Because heaven will not rain upon you gold and the earth will not spring out silver to you. Get out and work. Did Sayyidina Umar work? Yes, he did. He had business. He was a businessman. Till they convinced him. They said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, there is no way you can do both. He said, what do you want to do? Abu Ubaidah said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, because all of them, they sat together and they said, we should, break the news to Umar al-Khattab. He said, who's going to do that? They said, you Abu Ubaidah. He said, why me? I don't want to get in trouble with Umar. He said, he loves you very much. So he came, he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I see, he's trying to give it like, introduction. He said, Amir al-Mu'mineen, we know you are really a hard worker and all of that and this and that. He said, what's your point, Ya Abu Ubaidah? Go to the point. I don't have time for this. Because he used to go and he had a shop, he used to work. I mean, he's a working person. Abu Bakr, he was, ruling the whole ummah, and he was working also. He had time to work and make money and serve the people and milk the sheep for the orphans. He said, what's your point? He said, we should give you some money from Bayt al-Mal al-Muslimin. And Sayyidina Umar, he said, how do you mean to beat you up? He said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, we all agreed on this. He said, oh, who agreed on this? Who agreed? He said, we all agreed on it, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Khalas, we agreed on it. He said, whatever you're going to give me, I'm going to see my budget, and I have the right to refuse it. He said, no, you have no right to refuse it. That's the shura you said, right? We all agreed to give it to you. So when he used to get the money, he used to take the money and he says, okay, one time his wife had some money. He said, where did you get this money from? He saw her, she bought a necklace. She said, where did you get that necklace from? She said, I bought it from the market. He said, what money? He said, our money. He said, how did you get the money from? She said, I was saving from the money you were getting from the Khilafah. He said, oh. How much did you pay for it? She said, this much. He said, okay. So he said to Bayt al-Mal, he said, cut down my salary by this much because we don't need that. Of course, his wife became angry. He said, well, whatever it is you want to be, go back and sell it and bring me back the money. Because that is not yours. Even like, I was reading and I said, subhanallah. Even like with the light, he had two candles. One candle for the Khilafah and one candle for his house. He told him, is this a business matter or this is a personal matter? He said, the business. He said, hold on, personal, hold on. Turn on the other one on. Make sure that this is not the Khilafah. Allahu Akbar, ya akhwan. What is this? Allah, people, they give a budget to Richardson, to Richardson. They say, oh, how much is our budget? Oh, like whatever, $1 billion, something like that. Okay, how much? We're like in July, we still have what? Oh, you still have about 50 million. Let's spend it. Because if you don't spend it, next year what they're going to do? They cut it out from your budget. Isn't that right? So what they do, they go and they spend it. That's why we are in debt, ya akhwan. If you don't need it, then you don't need it. Then yeah, you need to ask people. Tie down their belt a little bit. You don't have to eat chicken every day. You don't have to eat meat every day. That's why we are in this situation. Look at the country is bankrupt. We are 30, 40 trillion. How do you think they're going to recover from this? Subhanallah. Why? Because people are spending. We are in the consuming world. Not only now in America, you go everywhere. People are just spending money. You say economy is bad. I say, I don't think so. I don't think the economy is bad. I mean, Oklahoma that doesn't. I don't know what kind of business they have, what kind of budget they have, what kind of crisis they have. The minute you cross the border of Texas to Oklahoma, you will see the first casino, and the casino is full. So much cars outside. You say what? You say people don't have any money, right? And you see why? Subhanallah. How Sayyidina Umar was teaching people to reserve and conserve, not to spend that much. Anyway, he's also the one that is, as I said, he created, checkpoints between the towns. Checkpoints. Not checkpoints to take whatever you have. He said, open the trunk. Oh, okay, you don't need this, you don't need that, you don't need that. Take those away. Can you say anything? No, or you have to bribe the people at the checkpoint to let you go with whatever you have. Isn't that right? Most of the countries are like that nowadays. They won't even stamp your passport. They say, oh, you have a problem with your passport. You have to put the money inside the passport. You open the passport and he sees the money. Oh, no problem. Go in. That's how it works in some of the countries. right? He said, checkpoint for what? Where are you coming from? Or from here? What's your business in town? Because Ikhwanna, now it is expanding. So nobody knows who's who. You have to make sure that no one is coming in, just entering town for no reason. You know, what's the reason they're coming in here? So anyway, so he also started that. Not only that, but people who are going to war, he used to give them money to the family. Not only that, but he's checked. How long can a woman wait for her husband? They said 4 months. He asked his daughter, Hafsa, he said, how long would a woman would wait for her? He said 4 months. He said 4 months, after 4 months you come back. Don't stay out in the battlefield. Not only that, also he started to send, doctors and planners and judges with the army. Because the army is not anymore 300 like Badr or 1,000 like, Uhud. Now you're talking about 100,000 going out for a battle or going out, in the training and all that. You have to have, people to cook for them. You have to have, judges. You have to have, because sometimes they have, problems between them. He's the first one who started, as I said, the WIC program for those who are in need. He's the first one who started al-awqaf. Waqf, you know what waqf, right? This message is waqf. Doesn't belong to anybody. Belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know this, right? These houses, these places, these lands. He's the first one who did appraisals. How much your house worth? How much your land worth? He's the one who started putting borders around lands. You cannot just come and claim. Do you know how Texas gone, right? I know how Texas became a land of Texas. Not even remember that Texas, New Orleans, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, they all were Mexican land. They were not American lands. Sammy Houston, you're gonna see the biggest statue when you're going to Houston on 45. You will see his statue. Sammy Houston told people, he said, people, wow, you're so crowded, in the north. Why don't you come south? It's plenty and open. He said, what do we do? He said, just come, make a border around your land as much as you can take care of that land, build your house in the middle of it, that's your house, that's your land. After a while, the Mexicans came and they said, excuse me, this is our land. What are you guys are doing here? He says, what are you talking about? This is our land. And then they had the fight, and the Texans told them, come and get it. And they had the big fight, this and that, and the Alamo happened, if you remember what happened in the Alamo and all that. And then they pushed all the Mexican, borders all the way to what we see right now. This is how we took over the land. Righteously. Right?
Unrighteously.
Well, I'm just being sarcastic. Look at the brother, he's mad. He's upset. Unrighteously, of course. Of course, we didn't buy it like we bought Louisiana from France, or we bought Alaska from Russia. No, we just took over. We said, oh, just come. So he wanted to make sure that people will not do the same thing, because the land is expanding. Muslims are coming, Muslims are converting, people are moving to the land. He doesn't want to say, oh, by the way, I found this land, I took it. You cannot do that. You have to come to Medina, or to come to your land, wherever you are, in a Sham, and you say, I would like to purchase this land. Yes, you can, because this belongs to the Muslims. Not belong to you, belong to the whole ummah. And you have to pay for it. That's fair. So he's the one who started the appraisal and started also hiring people for that, to take care of the lands. He says, subhanAllah, how did he thought of all these things? How? Look at Europe at that time. It was in the black pitch, darkness. Very dark age. They call it the dark age. We didn't call it the dark age. They called it the dark age, right? So who taught him these things? Subhanallah. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهِ. Not only that, but he said, the Romans have coins and tokens and the Russians have the same thing. What do we have? I'm not going to bring chicken so I can, sell them to you so you can give me something else. I cannot carry chicken with me and goats and what have you and to exchange anymore, because I'm not doing that. So he's the first one who started what? The currency. The currency, and he used the gold and the silver. That's what at that time people used, the gold and silver. How much is it, how big and how small? That's how much is the value of it. So then people start trading with the money. So they don't have to carry all this things to buy and sell. So he's the one who started that. He's the one who started zakatul khayl, zakat for the horses. During time before him, there's no horses. I mean, selling and buying. They were selling and buying what? Camels. Most of the time, camels. But now they found in Sham, in Persia, people love horses more than if you go to Afghanistan, people love horses. They all in China, they all use horses. They don't use camels, right? So he said, you know what? If you are dealing and dealing with horses, then you have taxes. I mean, you have zakat. So he put the zakat. He's the one who used to give money to every single person. Remember, he doesn't want to have beggars. One time he was passing by a house and he heard the cry. And he told the woman, he said, stop the kids from crying. He left and he came back after a while and the kid's still crying. He said, stop the kid from crying. So he said, and I sat next to, in that neighborhood, just waiting to see what's going to happen. Because if there's a problem, remember what he used to do? He put an X on the house and he comes next day to solve the issue. So he doesn't disturb people at night. So what happened is, the kid kept crying. He said, take care of the kid. And then the woman started from his side. He said, who are you? What's your business? Why you want me to, She said, Umar does not give us money till we stop the kids from breastfeeding. Weaning, right? That's the word. Right? Even like when you stop breastfeeding and you start feeding the kid food and all that. He said, I will not give you money for the kids. Like you have 5 kids. 2 of them are still breastfeeding and 3 of them are not. I'm going to give you money only for those 3 kids. Okay? So she said, I'm trying to stop the kids from breastfeeding so I can get some money from Umar. You see the idea? So Umar started weeping. He said, La ilaha illallah. What's going to happen to Umar yawm al-qiyamah? So he went next day and he told people, he said, go and give money to everybody who has children. It doesn't matter if they are like wean or not or whatever it is. You have 5, give them 5 for 5 children. Give them money for the 5 children. He's the first one we said, remember what we said, he built something called the guest house. Guest house for what? For people who are coming from out of town. For 3 nights, eat, drink, sleep for free. No, not a penny to pay. After 3 days, we ask you, what are you here for? What's your business? Are you here for to live? This is not a living, it's called guest house. Guest house means you are a guest. You're not a permanent guy, okay? So what's your business? And here, you have to state your business. What is it now called? Hotels. But they charge people. I was working with a company and I had to be in Manhattan. I paid $300, almost $400 per night for one single room, tiny room. But because it's Hilton in the middle of Manhattan, almost $400 a night. I said, for what? What are you going to do with $400? In a room with a bed and a couch and you just keep running around the room? What are you going to do? Use all the shampoo? You're going to make, take all the towels and what are you going to do? $400 you're paying a night. That's a lot of money. Some of the hotels, $2,500, $3,000. I said, for what? Oh, they have 2 floors. What am I going to do with 2 floors? Run up and down all night long? To make it up, for the $3,000 a night, ya akhwana. That's a lot of money. He built something called Istirahatul Hujjaj. The Hujjaj, when they have also some places that they have to rest. He did that for them. Look how he was taking care of Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Not only that, people who want business. Oh, you want business? Are you a businessman? Well, tell me your portfolio. What did you do in living? What did this and that? Oh, when you prove that you are good, he will give you a loan from Bayt al-Muslimin. He will give you a loan. He tell you, this is a loan. Go and work, earn, and then when you are done, bring back the money that you took it. So he was helping those who are, also unknown. He conquered Al-Iraq. Al-Iraq was conquered in his time. Al-Sham. He opened the Al-Quds. Al-Quds, when he was reading in his time, he said, my time, it was 15th Hijrah. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi laylan min al-masjid al-haram إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باتنا حوله. I think I need to stop here, it's already 9:30. So I'm going to put a mark here so we can inshallah start here next time. It's a very interesting story about Baytul Maqdis. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring it back to us inshallah when we deserve it. And I think we don't deserve it yet. When we deserve it inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give it to us like He gave it to Umar radiallahu anhu. I'm going to put I and T, so inshallah we will start then inshallah بإذنه تعالى. At that time, سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وجزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم.